Welcome to Shadow Empire Academy. Today you will learn why relations with your leaders are one of the most important aspects of the game. You will learn how to keep relation with leaders high and what are the consequences of unhappy leader who remains in the shadow behind your back. You can find each leader relation when you open leader detail screen from any place in the game, and in the demographic section there is information about our current relation. Also, there is a number showing what was the change of relation last turn. And if you hover over this triangle, you can see the explanation why the change happened last turn. In this case, relation changed by +6 points because of the decisions in last turn. If you hover over relation number or over the relation change number, you can see the relation change log and also the natural relation point. This section informs us what would be the ideal relation for this leader over time if there are no changes to the relation. So over time you can expect the relation equal to the natural relation point. That's why this number is very important. You can also check relation for all readers using this table and by filtering the key information like relation, natural relation point, capability. So you can even sort and see who is the most upset and unhappy leader in your empire. So why we should care about the relation? Because relation affects nearly everything in this game. For example, if we have governor of our zone, she has relation 73. This relation of governor can affect production of all assets up to 25% or minus 50%, depending on the relation. So if the relation is higher than 50, we can expect positive bonus, and is lower than 50, negative bonus. Let's check our assets. For example, biofuel refinery is receiving 13% of positive bonus because of the relation modifier. Industry also 13% of bonus to the industry production. So governor is very important to increase production of all public assets in our zone because it does not affect any private assets. Also, there is one difference. The bureaucratic points are also not affected by the governor relation. In case of commanders, so our military leaders, they affect the experience and morale of our units by their relation. And in case of directors, they affect all tasks in their current job. So in case of Supreme Command, we can see minus 7% because of the director relation, because it's lower than 50 points. And Economic Council has the relation higher than 50, and we can see plus 7% to the bureaucratic points generated by this director in this task. Here, our most happy leader in Military Research Council can increase the production of bureaucratic points by 20%. The maximum bonus in this case is 50% for leader who has 100 relation, or minus 50% if the relation is 0 or you have no leader. Usually any leader have relation higher than 0, so it's better to have even unhappy leader than no leader at all. Sometimes it's even better to have young and incapable leader which is happy and providing us 20% bonus or even 50% than a more experienced but unhappy leader who is decreasing the efficiency of the task. And also, which is very important, relation can affect any roles that our leaders do in combat, events, or playing stratagems. So let's say I would like to send some spies to the nearby regime, and you can see the leader is not very happy. So if I play this card and I hover over the result, you can see detailed explanation where we can see that the leader relation modifier was minus 8. So the relation of the leader can affect the any role by up to plus 20 or minus 20 points, which sometimes makes a big difference. But if the leader is happy then result is modified by relation plus 8 in this case. So now I hope you know why the relation is so important in this game. Now let's discuss what elements can change our leader's relation. The most obvious are decisions. Any decisions that you do can affect leaders based on their likes or dislikes. In this case, the first decision, so ignoring some leaders' actions, will modify the heart profile by -3. So why they are decreasing their happiness? So this woman likes heart profile. So if I am going to decrease the profile, she's not happy because of that. But this guy, you can see he has two pluses here. So he really likes this profile. That's why his decrease of the relation is 2 times higher than for higher case, because he likes the hard profile 2 times more. Here you can see that they doubled the decrease because we doubled the decrease of the hard profile, which I like or really like. So your decisions have huge impact on relation of your leaders depending on the change of profiles that the leaders like or dislike. Let's do the decision that will satisfy them. But in this case, be careful because disciplining a leader will affect relation of the leader which we are going to discipline, and the relation will decrease heavily. So in this case, this guy is really upset, and if we discipline here, he might even do something against us in future. So I would like to rather keep him happy. So in this case, let's ignore his actions. And you can see that expected decrease happened. And here another decision. And usually all decisions are connected with some profile change. So the alignment of your empire across society, politics, and psychology of your empire. So usually it's hard to satisfy everyone, as you can see, and you need to make tough decisions based on your budget, your profile that you would like to keep, and relation of important members of your cabinet. In this case, let's go and send troops to deal with the protest, but it will move us to the autocracy. As you can see, there is positive reaction of some members who likes autocracy. And now another factor that can change a relation, which is budget. Any changes to the budget can heavily affect any directors who are working in our councils. If you decrease the money to the model design council, the director will be unhappy. If you increase, the director will be happy. So be very careful when you're adjusting those sliders. When your organizations are growing, the game automatically distribute the budget proportionally, and then you can click no changes, and this is not affecting any relationships. But if you change anything, then you are affecting leaders' relation. So let's do some test and change only something for the Military Research Council and Model Design Council. And the rest will keep the same. So now I'm only changing between those two sliders and will increase to 15% and here decrease to 7%. Confirm. And you can see that the director where we decrease the budget is very unhappy, and the director where we increase is a bit more happy. Another good way to improve leaders' relation is to give them a job. I have 3 vacancies in the 3rd Motorized Light Infantry Brigade, so he can be a commander because he has good personal combat, deception, and war score is quite okay. So why not? You can see that the relation improved by 10 points. And now we have much happier leader and also good commander. So the opposite of giving someone job is to dismiss people and relieving commanders from the existing job. If you go to our cabinet, we can see that there are some unhappy leaders. And for example, she is not capable at all. So as a director of Interior Council, she is not very good. And I don't need her. I can call and relieve her. Of course, she can be unhappy. So as you can see, the seniority is also important factor. The more senior the leader is, the harder it is to relieve him. If the leader is a member of some faction, all members of this faction will suffer minus 19% to their relation. This percent is depending on the seniority of that leader. And other leaders that are not members of this faction will also suffer minus 7% because no, they know each other, so they don't like if somebody is losing the job. But if I make a promise for another or better job, the negative impact will be halved. So if I promise other job or better job for this leader, I can expect a smaller decrease of the relation. But this is also risky because I don't like this member and I will promise another job, and this member will be prioritized in the nominations for the next upcoming free positions. So then I will always see her proposed by the faction as a leader to hire for the new positions, but I don't want her. So I have to select this option, no job. In this case, I am accepting all relation losses. So you can see that her relation diminished by 26 points, and also people from her faction and others. So you can see that even our previously happy military research council, now she has minus 6 to the relation due to relieving Mabel Linux, but she was from a different faction. And I can check the factions screen, and she was part of the Republican Knights, so probably other members of this faction have higher loss of the relation. Yes, minus 13 to the relation, so much higher loss than other members because she is closely related to her, and she now has relation 5. So we'll see what will happen with her in future. Another element that can affect leader relation is unsuccessful role for the leaders cards, like investigate leader. So if we think that somebody has stolen a money and we would like to get the money back, I can try to investigate the leader, but if the role will be unsuccessful, then the leader can decrease the relation from 43. We will see if this will be successful or not. No, it's failure. So it's unsuccessful. And you can see the targeted leader took offensive with your interrogation. So he doesn't like that we are accusing him for stolen money. And so you can see that the relation decreased to 34 because of this investigation. It was unsuccessful for us. If we are in stratagem screen, it's important to mention that there are special cards that can increase a relation of our leaders directly. Bonus can be played by Interior Council and increase a relation by 10%. Official gift is increasing by 30%. There are also other cards like estate gift and commercial gift, which are increasing by 50%. You can find them if you go to report, help, and stratagem encyclopedia, Interior Council, and here you should find this is official gift, this is commercial gift, and here estate gift. So let's go back to our cards and let's check them in action. And I would like to increase the relation of Model Design Council. He has relation 41. We execute the card. And there was a failure. The effect was halved, but we see nothing. Nothing changed. Even if this is half of the effect, the problem is that the gifts are working for people who are egoistic, who appreciate gifts, and gifts are something that make them better. And this guy is complete opposite. He is altruistic. He don't care of any appreciation. He is happy with his normal salary. So the gifts are not working for people with low egoism, but they can be useful for people with high egoism. So let's find any leaders in our cabinet that have personality egoism, which is high. So in this case, we have Simon, which is very egoistic guy. He really thinks that he deserves any money and any appreciation, and he will be happy if I would give him what he deserves. So let's call a stratagem button. But if we are in the leaders tab, we need to go back to the map and click stratagems. And now we have him selected because we click the stratagem button from his card. And we can play a bonus on him. So his relation is 86.
Affirmative.
And even if the roll was failure, so the effect is halved, we received 7 points of relation. So we could receive 14 points from him only by giving him this cheap gift. Now you can see he is very happy. Very happy guy. 93 relation because he deserves it. Another element that can affect relation of all leaders is a war, especially with a neighbor with whom we have peace. Like we have quite good relation, 57, with this minor regime. If I will try to go for war with them, the game notice that our relation level is quite good. So attacking them will give us from 1 to 10 of happiness damage if we will invite them. And also our feast profile will increase by 12%. So the higher the relation with the neighbor whom we are attacking, the more damage to the happiness will be. Let's attack them. And you can see that the happiness relation damage is minus 2%. We are quite lucky because the maximum was minus 10, but we have minus 2, so not so bad in this case. So we discussed different ways how we can affect temporarily the relation of our leaders. So effects that will appear in the relation changelog, but there are some cards and some government features that give us a permanent relation change. I'm talking about Medal of Merit, for example. All this previously mentioned estate gift and commercial gift. All of those cards are giving permanent relation bonus. What does it mean? It means that not only will you receive standard 25% of relation increase from this card, but also you can see that we'll receive charisma increased by 10, permanent relation increased by 1, and seniority increased by 1. So let's play this card on our governor.
Affirmative.
You can see that we improved the relation by 25 points. And if we go to the leader here in the feats section, we can see that she has Medal of Merit. And this medal is increasing her charisma stats by plus 10. And in next turn, here we'll see additional number that will appear in the change log section. Let's play next turn. We are in next turn. We can go back to our leader. And you can see that the changelog is showing us that we lost 2 relation because natural relation point is lower than our relation increased by this medal, but also the relation change plus 1 due to the medal of merit. So effectively we only losing 1. So we can say that we slow down the decrease of the relation towards the natural relation point by half. If she would have also the estate gift, we could stop the decrease of the relation. I have loaded my another game to show you another permanent relation modifier. If you go to my headquarter filter and find commander of 1st Machine Gun Infantry Brigade, and if we hover over the modifiers, you can see that she has plus 2 relation due to regime feature Senate. So the type of government that I have here, so Senate, you can check in the features and bonus overview here, and you hover, you can see that this type of government is giving leader relation plus 2 if they have low ambition. So in her case, her ambition is 26, so it's quite low. That's why she's receiving this +2 relation because of the government type. And this is permanent change. And here I loaded another game to show you that there is a different government modifier. For example, our model design council, Drake, if we hover over this triangle, you can see that he has -2 due to regime feature politburo. So if we go to the, once again, to features and bonus, in this game, I have different government, politburo, and this government is decreasing the relation of leaders who has high heroism. I have loaded our initial game. So as you can see, the personality of leaders is very important, and it can heavily affect also the speed of changes of the relation. So as you know that the relation is changing towards the natural relation point, the speed of that change is determined by ambition. So if the ambition is high, the relation decrease fast, but increase slow. But if the ambition is low, then it increase fast and decrease slower. Egoism, as you know, have impact on the bonus, so she would ignore any bonus that I would give her. But low egoism leaders, so altruistic ones, they are really appreciating the salary increases. So if you can see in her natural relation point, she has +10 relation because of her salary, which is not very high. So the low egoism members will really appreciate salary changes, salary increases. Another important element of relation is their influence on the loyalty. So if the relation is higher than the loyalty will slowly grow up to the relation. So in this case, I can gain 2 points of loyalty to 74, which will be my maximum. But if the relation will be lower than the loyalty will decrease slowly to the relation. So relation has a big impact on loyalty, but the speed of change of our loyalty depends also on the egoism. So as you can read that their loyalty will increase slower than that of more altruistic leaders. So the personality have influence on the speed of changes and the level of changes of some relation operations. And now we can speak finally about natural relation point. As you can see, there are many parts in this hint that are affecting the final value of our natural relation point. As we mentioned earlier, this is a very important number, and this is the final maximum relation that this leader can have. And over time, it will have that relation. So let's analyze all elements one by one. As you can see, first 3 rows have the part prefix. So we see one part loyalty, one part job prestige, and 2 parts leader profile. What does it mean? Those parts are the weight of those elements for the average. So below we can see that average of all parts above is 76, but the leader profile is counted twice. In this case, the average is computed by adding loyalty, so 72 plus job prestige 100 plus regime profile 65 plus another regime profile 65 and divided by 4. So we have 76. So the leader profile is a more important factor for natural relation point. So we talked that loyalty is impacted by relation, but also the natural relation point is impacted by loyalty, which is part of the average. So if you keep all parts of this average high, then at the end we can have a good base for our natural relation point. The another part is job prestige. So each type of job has its own prestige. The most prestige ones are directors. They have 100 prestige. Then another one is secretary and advisors. Those jobs has prestige 70. And the least prestige jobs are commanders, and governors. They have the least prestige job value, 40. So how the job prestige number affect the leader? If we go back to our list, let's select any of the members. You can see that she has a job which is director, so prestige is 100, and the job prestige also is 100 because she has low ambition. But if you have a member with higher ambition, like here, 57, then the job prestige is 93, so 7 points lower than the maximum one. Why? Because the ambition is above 50. So the 7 points above 50 is decreasing the job prestige part for the natural relation point. Let's find somebody with high ambition. In the manage screen, I will select personality ambition and sort by the maximum one. This guy has ambition 76. So for him, the job prestige is 74 because he is decreasing the maximum value from his job by 26. So best is to give the low prestige jobs to the less ambitious people to keep them happy and keep the director jobs for the more ambitious ones. But it's not always possible. And luckily, this is only one part from many. So sometimes we can keep it low and focus on others like loyalty or profile match. The parts that are included for average sometimes depends on the job that our leader is doing. So if we filter, for example, for governors and we check their relation, you can see that governor has one additional part, which is average happiness of populace. So 1/5 of his relation depends on the population happiness in his zone. And in case of commanders, we can see that 1/5 of their average relation depends on average morale of troops they are leading. So in this case, the average morale is 8. So this part is decreasing a lot average relation of this leader. And let's talk about the leader profile, which is counted as two parts to the average. So what does it mean? If leader has some likes and dislikes, in this case, he doesn't like militia, but he likes very much, he loves mind and really likes meritocracy. So if we check our empire profiles distribution, anything that is above 50 points and leaders like will increase their relation, and anything that is below 50 and they like it, it will decrease their relation. Also, it's working the opposite way. So if leader doesn't like some profile and it's above 50, it will decrease his relation. And if he doesn't like something and it's below 50, he likes this situation. So likes should be above 50 and dislikes should be below 50 to keep the profile alignment of leaders high. So if we filter our leaders by the natural relation point, and he, for example, has 85 alignment with our empire because he have only likes, and most of the likes that he care of are above 50. In our case, it's democracy and heart. So he likes democracy and really likes heart, and they are above 50, so that's why he is quite aligned. Another element that can affect a relation is friction with advisor. Advisor can be really helpful if we assign it to any leader. Let's say we assign Isaac to Hannibal. So we call it attach to Hannibal. Now he is helping our director to fulfill his duties, but let's check what will happen next turn. We are in next turn. And let's check our cabinet, and below the average you can see a row saying penalty or for friction with advisor or attached leader -6. So his natural relation point was decreased by 6 points because some friction with advisor. So here you can see that the advisor is attached. And why does it happen? It depends on the personality differences. So this leader has high authority. So he would like to make things his own way. He don't want really somebody helping him, because here you can also read in the hint, the last sentence. It also impacts potential friction with an advisor. So the highest the authority, and the bigger chance that there will be a friction. Also, the documentation mentioned that this attribute somehow can affect a relation with the advisor. So this should be similar to the witty of our advisor, and it somehow is. 35 witty and here 45, so no big difference. So this shouldn't disconnect them, because you know, if somebody likes jokes and the other person really don't care, they have nothing to talk about, so there can be some personal friction, and authority is another factor. We already mentioned salary effect, but salary can affect temporary relation and the natural relation point, and how much the salary change will affect our leaders depending, as we previously said, on their egoism. So if we will filter our leader by egoism, you can see that we have many leaders with low egoism that have quite low relation in many cases. So if we check what is their job, it's mainly directors. So let's try to change a salary for our directors and see if this will improve their relation. So in salaries, I can improve only this section. So council director's salary, like by 2 credits per round. And if we scroll down, confirm, you can see that there is quite enthusiastic reaction. So plus 13 to relation because I increased their salary, and the increase is high for people with low egoism because they feel that I appreciate their work. This is not something special like bonus. They wouldn't like bonus, but they like the normal salary increases. But here, like Mabel Linux, increased only by 6, and also this guy, and check why. So if we go to her profile, you can see that she has a going 56. So that's why it was lower than in other cases. And if she would have a goes, I don't know, 90, then probably the increase will be only 3 or 2 points. But for people with low egoism, like this guy, if we go to the natural relation point, you can see that the salary effect is plus 14 relation. And this is plus 14 not only to the temporary change, but also to the natural relation point. This is a change after our average. So the average is a base. In this case, average was 72. Then we have this friction with advisor -6. And then salary is a quite interesting factor for the natural relation plus 14. As you can see, the last element on the list is our word score. So how much people trust us and treat seriously what we are saying. So the value of our word score is a last element included in our natural relation point for our leaders, and it also depends on personality. So heroic leaders will appreciate our word score more, and low ambition leaders. So heroic people cares about the high values, the something more like honor and the word score, and less ambitious simply follow the leader and trust him, whatever he says. And last remaining element that we didn't talk about, and if we go to natural relation point, you can see that if the member belongs to a faction, there's information that the natural relation point improved for faction having higher relation. So instead of having average 52, because the faction relation is 71, the leader relation improved to 62. So we have 10 points improvement because we have good relation with faction that this member belongs to. So Republican Knights If we go to our factions screen and click to Republican Knights, we can see that the happiness is 71. More we improve the happiness with the faction, the more we improve happiness with all leaders belonging to that faction. But the highest impact we have on the leader of the faction with these stars in the background. So she is a faction leader and she is very sensitive, and her relation will be more impacted by faction than other members of the faction. So the faction has a chance to affect our leader relation, and the chance depends on the difference between leader relation and the faction happiness. So 35 compared to 71. So the faction has 36% that can affect relation of this leader. But this leader has a skill resist influence. So it's harder for the faction to influence this leader, especially if the leader has high skill. It may never happen that the faction will influence this leader. Also, faction can influence profile alignment, but we discussed factions in a separate video, which I recommend. Also, the leader's screen was discussed in a separate video about leaders' stats. Another point worth to mention is corruption in context of relation. So, if the relation of our leader is less than 70 and we have some egoism personality, and the personality has some higher number in egoism, then the corruption can grow faster for that leader. So unhappy leader, egoistic, means corruption will grow over time, and the corruption is a percentage that the leader can steal some money from our budget. So one way to prevent corruption is to keep happiness above 70. And another point worth to mention, if the leader relation is low and they are ambitious or heroic, they have higher chance to rebel against us in future. So watch out on heroic and ambitious leaders which are unhappy, as they may cause problems. Let's play next turn. We are in next turn. We are checking messages. And what happened? Our lovely leader, which was unhappy, decided it's time to show her true colors, and she commenced a rebel operation in Maxia, as we could expect. So what happened? You can see here and here they are rebel forces led by this unloyal, untrusty woman who betrayed us. And now we have a problem. So watch out on leaders who are staying with low relation, especially without a job. If you have many leaders, you can miss such details. And there is a report about urgent issues. And one of the section of this report is leader relation issues. So here you can see which leaders should have our attention to avoid problems. It's worth to check this report from time to time. Okay, I think you have learned a lot today. I hope you survived this lesson and see you in our next videos. Thank you for watching. Now I need to deal with her.